The LG Procast is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views or opinions expressed by the podcast hosts and guests do not necessarily reflect the official position of LG. For the latest and most accurate information about LG products, please consult relevant product manuals and related documentation.
Welcome back to another episode of the LG Procast. I'm Phillip Kriegbaum.
And I'm Terry Frisenda. Here we are today in beautiful Conklin, New York with Mr. Mark Meier of Meier Supply. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Great. We appreciate it. Tell us a little bit about Meier Supply and what's going on up here in Conklin, New York.
Well, history for Meier Supply. It's almost 80-year-old family-started business, fourth generation family run. Now almost 200 employees. Now we are all 100% employee owned, nice. Which has been fantastic. Our territory is, we have 19 locations total, counting our distribution center throughout central New York and central Pennsylvania. Started out way back when, probably 95% refrigeration. And as you guys know, as the industry has changed quite a bit, we've evolved into probably, I shouldn't say majority, but about 60% now HVAC and the rest refrigeration. Our core values is all customer driven, customer related. We received that from grandfather to father to brothers, now sons and nephews and nieces. And we've seen to maintain that culture of customer to serve, and it works well. It's worked so far, and I hope it stays like that forever.
Well,
I've been blessed.
You know, in the world of corporate distribution partners, a family-owned business is certainly I wouldn't call it an anomaly, but it's certainly not commonplace. So, congratulations on being able to sustain that and make yourself a mark in this market.
And I just have to say, it's not lip service. You'll have brothers. We go to a branch, and we'll be the first one to carry the parts out to the guy's truck. And you'll see new employees that are going, he's from corporate. What's he doing that for? It's because it's ingrained, and we're here to serve the customer. And I have to share one story with you.
Please do it.
So I'm working the counter in Binghamton. And my brother Frank, this is a Saturday, and I told somebody else, we're open Saturdays 10 to 12. No extra pay back in those days, right? So I'm there about 9:45, getting on the computer, and I see my brother Frank, president of the company, coming out of the bathroom with a mop and a bucket. And at that time, we got really big. You know, we had somebody coming in and cleaning the offices once a week. I go, Frank, what are you doing? We got people to do that. He goes, it needed to be done. I went, inside I go, what a jerk. To myself thinking, why would I even ask that? So we lead by example, not expecting any other co-owner to do anything that we wouldn't do. It's still carried on. So we've been blessed in that respect.
Well, there's no doubt that message, that's a easily, people see that and people feel that. Yeah. And the level of people that work for you certainly are appreciative of that, I can assure you. So
yeah.
We were talking to Ryan, who we had on a couple of episodes ago, and we were up here, and Ryan from Paul Pack, and off camera we were talking about that, and he couldn't stop singing the praises of Meier Supply and the support that he receives from them, and that's what makes loyal customers, right? I mean, he's got options on where he buys his LG products from, but
certainly in a market as dense as the Northeast, different partners. Well,
somebody the size of Ryan, he can buy whatever brand he wants. He can buy it from wherever he wants, but he chooses to be here. So we appreciate that. We appreciate your business to LG. Been with LG for quite a while.
Yep.
So maybe you can tell the story of what you've seen evolve from LG, maybe from a product standpoint, but also from a business standpoint, right?
I'll start with the
business. We've changed.
Yeah, I'll start with the business. We've started on the applied products division almost 10 years ago this October. And our residential DFS was a little bit slower taking off. With COVID and with the availability in industry-wide of equipment, LG came to the forefront for availability. So we've grown in the last probably 3 or 4 years, double or triple what we've done in the past 8. So that's from a availability standpoint. From a service standpoint, from what I've seen, because I manage the DFS division, in the last 3 or 4 years, it seems like not only from a product availability, but from I'm going to say plethora of products, availability has been fantastic. And then the service from the factory and from the resources that we deal with on every day, our division managers, regional managers, and support has been fantastic. At least the last 3 or 4 years, it's come way up. We also haven't seen, I'll go and call on, because my main responsibility is growing pro dealers development. And I'll hear from people that we're talking to that are selling another product, and we're not going to sell LG. That stuff's, I don't want to say some of the words they said, but I say, when was the last time you used it? It's been 8, 10 years. Mm-hmm. I said, just give it a shot again. Give us a shot, because we don't have those issues that you're talking about. We just don't have them. And we've got some pro dealers that move a ton of equipment. Yeah. They love it.
And we had some bumps in the road, some growing pains when we first launched the products in the U.S. and providing the support that we needed to provide. And, to your point, I mean, I get it. You have a bad experience once, but it's really not the same company that it was a decade ago.
Well, if you look in this room, I'm not sure what all you can see from the camera's perspective, but we're sitting in a lab here that has our applied products and our residential product. Mark calls it DFS, acronym for duct-free systems or ductless-free systems. But this is the difference, okay? We can do what we want as a manufacturer, right? But where the rubber meets the road is in this room. Right. And I think I met Steve earlier, your technical service advisor and trainer, right? It's this commitment from partners like you that make the difference. And the reason that we don't have the issues that you refer to is because we have partners like you who are committing to do things like this to educate the contractor base and the consumer, right? And the builder and the developer on how to apply this product and how to service this product. And this is the difference, Mark. Don't kid yourself.
The 24/7 mentality, it's forced on you in refrigeration way back when. Yes, and it's the same thing now. It's not, we close at 5 o'clock and give us a call tomorrow. I'll still get calls at 11 at night, 3 in the morning. Hey, I'm in a jam. And I get the smarter guys to help us out now.
Me and you both.
and that's a mentality that really makes, we are not the low guys. We're not the cheapest guys. We never have been. We don't want to be.
Right.
We want to earn their business based on service and support, and the other stuff comes along with it. The sales come right along with it, but we have to earn it first, because there's a lot of bottom dollar product out there, and a lot of times they'll say they're a lot cheaper, and we'll go, okay, well, good luck, and maybe 6 months or a year later they say, okay, we want to go with you guys, and it's because of what we offer. We just don't sell boxes. We sell service and solutions.
When you talk about solutions, to me, that's where stuff starts to get fun. I mean, we can move boxes all day long, but when you start getting into some fun projects, like I mentioned, we had Ryan on here and we were out shooting some video. Our production team was of this beautiful hunting lodge that was kind of outside of the normal box. And Ryan came, and between him and your people, you guys were able to develop a kind of a multi-step solution for this hunting lodge, because I think some of it had air-to-water heat pump solutions and some of it had some ductless stuff, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a little more fun than just putting a plain old box on it.
I couldn't agree more. And what I don't want to say blessed or lucky, we're fortunate with our applied products team. Yeah. So not only commercial, 3-phase stuff, single-phase stuff, that project and other projects like it, we talk, we design. That is the fun part. There are some non-fun parts on the technical side, but the design and the layout is great. And that was one of them. And we've had many other ones that they'll say, what do we want to do here? And they're thinking unitary, they're thinking rooftops. We come in with our pro dealers, with our customers, and talk to the end users and show them other options, other solutions that are so far outside the normal box. It works most of the time.
That probably is my favorite part of the job is meeting with people and just walking a job or looking at plans and just going, all right, how can we actually make this happen? And I was in Cincinnati a couple of weeks ago, and I had this old house built in the 1920s, and a young man bought it and wants to. He's remodeled it and it's beautiful. And he goes, listen, I want to push the limit here. I want to do some some cool stuff. So we're using several different products. We're going to use some air to water there too, but it's just so much fun because it's, you actually get to use the brain that God gave you.
Yeah. Well, if you think about the role that, that Phillip and I have within our company, Mark, we're working with builders and developers and your pro dealers and your staff. I mean, our roles are to meet these people, help them grasp this technology, help them, because I got to tell you, builders are all about one thing, right? Let's just get this thing done. Let's get it closed. Let's move on to the next house, right? There's some changes in the industry. We talked about it in yesterday's or the previous podcast. And so there's some changes that are given an opportunity for your pro dealers and for us to maybe get into some of these builders and make this product a little more mainstream. Yeah, we're going to use ducted products and maybe some ducted and ductless hybrid products, but try to work this technology, which belongs mainstream. Don't kid yourself. Yeah. This stuff is so efficient. It belongs mainstream. The messaging that needs to be delivered has to come from your partners, guys like Phillip and I and the team that I represent. We just have to continue to press this message. Inverter-driven product is the way.
And I want to say, you asked earlier some of the developments we've seen in the company and the partnership. One of them is, you guys are available, I say 24/7. If one of my pro dealers have met you, like Ryan yesterday, and others at different meetings, they can reach out to you and you're going to say, hey, I heard that before. Try this. And it's the network that's grown through our partnership. What I see is one of the big benefits, technical and also sales, design, a lot more than ever before. So it's just, you're helping each other and you come up with some ideas, like Ryan had some on some of his projects that other pro dealers can use, like this Procast. That's perfect. So other people can listen to you guys and say, I never knew we could do that. That's cool. Right. And use that in another solution, have another tool in their pocket to sell to a homeowner.
Well, if you go to our training facilities, we have this, right? And if there's a problem, we're going to go to that piece of equipment, assuming that we have it installed in the lab, and we're going to try to recreate that situation that they have on site, right? And to me, that's different, because I'm not, obviously Korea's a 13 or 14 hour time differential, right? So there's that deal. But being able to call Texas and speak to people on the phone line at Texas that can get up from their desk and walk into a lab to a piece of equipment and physically try to recreate what you're doing, to me that's important. Now, that the other side of that coin is everybody's on hold waiting, right, for because we got to fix the stuff that they shouldn't be calling the line for, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
And we're making some investments there. I mean, we've added more and more tech support team. We've added a couple of tiers in there to try to, I don't want to say weed out, but triage some of the calls and make sure that
that's a good word.
The simple calls, we're able to get them the information that they need. Yeah. Can I have a manual? Here's the link.
Before.
So we made some investments there, but about 3 years ago, I believe LG made a very large investment where we decided to stop using third-party manufacturers reps, and we had some excellent ones across the country.
Absolutely.
And it was a difficult change. It was a difficult decision. But we decided to hire an entire LG employed sales team, and that's where we were able to really step to the next level as far as providing support for you, instead of, having somebody who represents 10 or 15
you're going to see
lines.
you're going to see another investment now, and you probably have already seen it. We're continuing to invest in that. I'll call it field level support. So men and women. Day-to-day work is to work with you, and then there's men and women whose day-to-day work is to work with your pro dealers and your contractors and develop. And then there's men and women, Phillip and I and my group, that are working at another level, at the builder, developer, contractor level. Just trying to everybody spreading this message to talk about this technology.
And two things. One, I want just to that point. I'm going to say I'm old school. I've been doing it 35 years. I have to say I still see the appreciation from our customers to have somebody from the factory, not just to be at a job site or technical or sale, whatever it is, but to have another resource. You're from Alpharetta, and I just called you, picked up, or you call me right back. To me, I'm going to use the word old school, or that term, because still a lot of contractors really appreciate that service. And to the technical help, we are in the process, Steve Post, who you met earlier, we are in the process of doing something similar so we can streamline it before it has to go to to your technical service. We want to be that solution provider, and we're putting steps in place very similar so we can try and avoid somebody calling LG is the power on, stuff like that. So it really, those processes are something we're growing with.
Right.
And it's just all to make things smoother and easier for our pro dealers.
All right.
Well, if I'm a distribution partner watching this podcast in some other part of the country, and I'm on the fence about whether or not I want to, bring LG into my business, what's the message? What can you tell them, Mark?
Easy to do business, a great product availability, and also product selection. Very vast. It almost handles any application. Also, getting into the air to water, it's way ahead. There's items that LG has that nobody else has, and it's allowed us to be able to offer some services that nobody else can. So, but ease of business. You mentioned partner. That's probably a good word for that, and just also a little fun. Yeah. Actually, a lot of fun.
Okay, so
I don't know if I can say some of the fun stuff.
Now the tough. No, wait. Before the story time. Now the tough question.
Shoot.
I'm a distributor competitor, right? Why do I have to worry about? I don't have LG.
You're not getting it either. Not in my territory. No. Only kidding. We got some good partners that we know.
I love it.
Why should you be worried? It's going in the right direction. It's going in the right direction in a lot of ways. I don't want to tell them why they should be worried. Okay. I don't want to give any secrets.
Fair enough.
But all kidding aside, it's really mentality, partnership, allow us to keep doing what we're doing easier, and then we can just keep showing the customer how we can serve, and then with the product, with everything we talked about, design, sales, service, that comes, believe it or not, that comes right after they've made the decision to believe what we're saying. So when I talk to a prospective dealer or customer, I say, everybody says they're the best. Everybody says we're great. All I ask is, here's an application. Just give me a shot. If we stink, that's fine. There's a lot of contractors, there's a lot of distributors out there, but if we're okay, then give us a shot and see what we can do. Because lip service is just that. Yeah. And you have to earn their business, and I just want a shot. And it usually works.
I think you really answered your question already. For all those reasons,
you did.
You've doubled and tripled your sales in the last couple of years. What other manufacturers are seeing that level of growth? I mean, we've talked about it, but
and you can look at industry numbers and see that's not happening, right?
Yeah. Our growth trajectory is definitely heading in the right direction. Yeah. It's a fun time to be here.
Well, one of the things I love about being, and I'm a longtime LG employee. I'm starting my 15th year of employment here, so I'm all, to say I'm all in is an understatement. Okay? Yeah. But one of the things that I love, and you kind of touched on it, was with the product and the products, right? We can have a conversation. We can have a Korean engineering team show up in your market and want to take customer feedback. And because we're so vertically integrated in what we do and how we manufacture, just a few short months later, there's a product at somebody's doorstep to test or try out for somebody. And like, I'll liken that to the heat pump water heater, right? Mm-hmm. We wanted to be in that business, right? So we went out, we got in that market, we interviewed folks, we looked at products, we bought products, and we started, and now look at that heat pump water heater. Quietest in the industry. Most second, if not the most efficient in the industry. Beautiful, like most LG products or all LG products.
Very,
right?
very good looking.
Bam, we're in the heat pump water heater business, right? Mm-hmm. Just another piece that's in the portfolio of what we do as a distributor and manufacturer, or as a manufacturer.
And you can control it with your phone, like you can control almost every other product.
Right from the ThinQ app, right?
So when you talk about products that nobody else has, I usually mention that.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So,
right? And are you a plumbing house by trade?
That's probably the challenge that we have with the water side. We're not.
Right.
But we're still selling water heaters.
You're still selling water heaters.
And the air to water source that we spoke about with the monoblock, that's something that our partners that are solid partners like Ryan, they'll buy from us. And they'll still buy maybe some of the zone valves and different things, but they want that technology first. So, we're not a traditional plumbing house.
Well, but the message there is he's not a traditional plumbing house, but he's selling hot water heaters, right? and rightfully so. You should. It's a refrigeration system. The water's easy, in and out, 2 lines, right? Yep. So, but so I applaud you for for not saying, oh well, we're HVAC only. We don't sell water products, right?
No,
So
it's
And I think
technology.
that's a
It's the
partnership. That's
technology.
what's
It's proven over time. You've evolved your company as the technology has changed. I mean, you've moved from different products, and that's just part of the evolution. And that's what's coming down the road is we're going to be doing a lot more heating and cooling with air to water heat pumps and we've been doing it with boilers for a long, long time in the
especially in this
industry.
market, right?
Yeah.
And they heat and they provide great radiant floor heat, whatever. But now we have the opportunity to do that and do cooling
And
with
chill
the
water.
same
Same
product.
product.
So instead of needing a boiler plus an air conditioner system, 2 separate systems, we got some fun stuff.
It just opens up opportunities.
Yeah, it
and as I
does.
told you, that first project that we did, now I've got 2 other ones, one that wants to go, but he wants to use it as a geothermal replacement, chill water, hot water. And he's got it all laid out. And he's saying things. I'm going, like you said about not being plumb. I'm going, oh, yeah, that sounds good. No, that's perfect. Yeah. Because what do you think? I go, whatever you think first.
Yeah.
As long as you get the unit
Whatever
from
you think
us.
first. I got a new line. Whatever you think first.
Yep.
So it's a heck of a ride, and I see it growing in the way, especially with rebates. You know, New York State PA's
Yes.
behind on the rebates, but it's gonna happen, and the company and that takes advantage of that technology first. And I have to say, you mentioned about how we've grown. Our standard project commercial might have been $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 10 years ago. Since we've gotten on LG on the applied product side, we're doing $1 million, $1.2, $1.3 million projects.
Wow.
With LG.
That's fun.
So
That's some growth.
You mentioned
It is some growth.
but it's a whole where there's areas in New York that are going to go in the next couple of years all electric, like no
sir.
gas. And
Yes,
you
sir.
probably talked about them, and we're right there. Initially, people would go, "That's horrible." I'm going, "That's great," because it's going to allow us to. We're right there already, well before it became mandatory that they're going to have to replace their systems with whole home electric.
And this is the only technology that really allows them to do that because
Agreed.
you can't put electric resistance heats, electric boilers, electric baseboards, and have any sort of
Tankless
efficiency.
electric
I mean,
power.
good gracious. Can you imagine the power bills? But when you do it, and that's what they're looking at. They're not, the intent of that legislation and those pushes is not to put people onto resistance electric.
No,
because
not at
that
all.
doesn't make sense. Our grid can't handle it. But the intent is to put them to inverter heat pump. Heat pump is really the direction that
Yeah.
everything
Cold
is
climate heat
moving
pump in
to.
these markets and
Yeah.
non-cold
Cold climate, all climate.
Right.
And it's actually going to relieve stress on the grid.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It really will. If everybody were, well, that's a stretch, but if we had the majority, it's going to relieve the grid.
The soft starts and everything else.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I've had a conversation with some school districts about, I'm paying taxes in this county to support school districts and using a HVAC system that just consumes electricity, right? We could save some money and hence some taxes if we just upgraded, some school districts.
It's just a mentality, and it's
Yeah,
coming.
yeah.
It's a culture, and it's
some-
going in the
there's
right
some-
direction.
It is.
It is going in the right direction.
So, Mark, you quickly mentioned rebates and incentives. Give us some examples. What's happening right now in New York, Pennsylvania?
Excellent. So in Pennsylvania, it's anywhere from $350 to $400 per outdoor unit that qualify,
Okay.
which is good, but it's not an incentive driver typically for the homeowner, where they might not think to do whole home unless they want to do that anyways. In New York State, depending on the utilities, because it goes through, each utility has a little bit different price range, but it can range anywhere from just a whole home solution. It has to be whole home now. It used to be, they did one-to-one for about a $500 rebate to the homeowner. Now they've eliminated the one-to-one, and the only rebate comes for a whole home solution. So it has to hit at 5 degrees, has to be able to maintain temperature at 5 degrees for a whole home application. And they also have to go through the process of load calcs and then design software.
There's that word again.
Good.
Yeah, load calcs and
Load
design
calc.
software, which is LATS.
Right.
And whichever load calc somebody chooses, it has to be approved by the utilities. And then once that's done, they get anywhere from, for just heat pump whole home solutions, anywhere from, depending on utility, $1,000 up to about $1,200 per 10,000 BTUs of the system.
Oh, my.
Wow.
Directly back to the homeowner.
Oh, my.
To check to the homeowner. And then if you're doing commissioning and integrated controls, it might go up $100 each on that total. And then if you're replacing completely a system and you're taking out an old oil, propane, natural gas, and it goes up another couple $100 per thousand. So I think it's as high as maybe $1,400 to $1,600 per 10,000 BTUs if you're completely commissioning, controls, and whole home solution, no other forms of heating. So, but a year or two ago, that higher amount was at the lower amount. They really have come down a little bit, but still, you'll see homeowners getting a rebate anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000, some of the larger homes up to $8,000.
I was going to say, so for every 10,000 BTUs, the number one size system in America is 3 ton. That's 36,000 BTUs times $1,400 or $1,500 per.
Sure.
Right? That's a substantial amount of money.
Yeah, that'll move the
And
needle.
that's coming in a check back to the consumer, not as a
consumer.
top line deduction from or bottom line deduction from the contractor.
I think the contractor might receive maybe $100 or $200.
So they're getting a little something as well.
And they can either give it to the homeowner off on the price, or they can keep it. It's really, as long as the contractor gets their number and the solution and the whole home, they've got the job. That rebate indirectly, like you said, it's coming out of each homeowner in New York State, but still, it's a sales driver. It really is.
Certainly it would be. And you, like you said, if you got an LG Pro dealer who's also offering finance, I mean, all of a sudden we're looking at a system that's very affordable.
Sure.
Right? Yeah, that's impressive.
With a great payback, and also the water heaters have a $700 rebate.
Oh my!
For New York State.
That's great.
So it's rebate driven. I hope it stays that way for a long time.
And like you mentioned, I mean, we're partnering with companies like Synchrony and things like that to help our pro dealers offer competitive financing for the homeowner. So now these systems are not only just what they want to have, it's something that they can actually go out and afford to have, reduce their energy bills, have a very reasonable, finance payment on it, and really everybody wins in that situation.
Certainly. I mean, clearly I'm the oldest one at this table, and
You sure about that?
I'm pretty sure there's a company in our history, and I know Mark will know this company that sold on a strategy, and the strategy was it's this month. It's $40 a month on your Sears card, right? It wasn't $2,000 refrigerator. It was $40 a month on your Sears card, and we talk about pro dealers, and this isn't a pro dealer podcast necessarily, but you talk about these guys and the expertise and the level of their business. They're offering financing because
Sure they are.
no one's expecting their heating and cooling system to break. Very, very few people, correct me if I'm wrong, are budgeting for their air conditioner or heater to replace, right? It's almost always an emergency. That's why you work 24/7, right? It's almost always an emergency. It always breaks at the worst times in August in Florida and deep in December and January up in the Northeast, right? So people just aren't planning for that stuff. Right?
Sure, agreed.
Times are tough, and people are so. Financing is a super, and to your point, putting these high efficiency cold climate heat pumps in your market, getting these incentives from your utility rate, that's a signal that they want this to happen.
Sure.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's good for what they're trying to get accomplished, which is keep power affordable. We talked about that on a previous podcast. Mm-hmm. Keep power affordable for folks so they can live and buy homes. So
absolutely. It's a good state to be in. And if Pennsylvania, for our territory, as I said in the beginning, comes along with it, and I think the rest of the country will, the distributors, the manufacturers, and the contractors are our partners. If they're ready now, even as the last few years, by the time it becomes 100% mandatory, it's nothing for them. They're already doing it.
Right.
So then you got a lot of people that don't want to catch up to this technology. You mentioned about being the oldest guy at the table. There's a lot of contractors that are like, I don't do rebates. I'm like,
yeah, I don't finance.
It's okay.
You're going to get left behind.
And they probably don't mind, I guess, unless they're the younger generation gets this, what we're talking about,
I guess
easier.
if you're in the last 2 years, 3 years of your career, maybe. But
Yeah.
if you want a career beyond that, you've really got to.
Well, the
open your
millennial
eyes.
base, which is clearly the largest buying populace in our country, the millennial base is expecting you to have those things. As a
They are.
contractor. They're expecting you to offer a system that can communicate and talk to them via the apps on their phone. They're expecting you to sell a sustainable, efficient piece of equipment.
Yes.
They're expecting you to have a finance program to help them afford the cost of this. So, you're right. that contractor has to be, and that's your LG Pro dealer base.
Yeah,
That's what
absolutely.
they're doing, right? So, man, it's been a fun shoot here with you. I appreciate it again.
It's been great.
The stuff that you do for us, and the commitment to resources, the financial commitment, all the stuff that you do that has made your company successful for 4 generations or 5 generations, however many that's been now, shows. Right, shows in what you do, it shows in how you perform, and well, I'm personally proud to be a part of it. So thanks for having us up here.
Listen, thank you guys so much, and we couldn't do it without you. We couldn't do what we're doing now without you guys and your partnership. So right back at you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Hey, before we head out, you got any fun LG stories?
Killing me with that.
Come on.
So we talked about this. So I don't have a funny laugh your butt off story.
Yeah, butt off.
I know. I beat that
Helping
out.
our editors there.
So we talked about briefly. So the one that I have that I really am happy about and proud about is a case study that we did with another contractor down in Pennsylvania, another pro dealer. And it was a school district that had unitary systems, and they were switching over to a healthcare type facility for problem children, and they wanted to be able to have controlled room-to-room systems. If I'm not mistaken, I think we ended up designing 25 one-to-ones and a couple multi-head systems for that project. And then also for the gymnasium, another 4 or 5. So I was there from A to Z, layout, design, working with the actual supervisors of that district, and it just came together. And that's more of a proud versus funny story. I don't have any funny ones yet. When I do, I will reach out and tell you. But it's just being able to do a whole project like you talked about, from design to install to pro dealer being happy, and that was a great project.
You're no different than any other person in this HVAC business. We all do the same thing. We walk in a place and we look at the grills and registers. And we make a judgment immediately. We drive down the streets in our town and go, "I did that job. I did that job."
Yep.
You know, we're all the same. That's pride. That's proud craftsmanship and trade quality that built our country. Okay, you should be proud of that, and you are. So congrats for you.
My wife will say, "You go into the restaurant for a few minutes. I'll come afterward, because I go in and I'm doing this." And every place I go, and I also do the same thing. I'll drive by going, "Oh, I think we did that one. We did that one." So
and also pick apart the competitors. Like, God, what was he thinking?
That's not even level.
People that take pride in their work. One of my good buddies is in the roofing business. It's funny. We went to see him, and we're driving around. He's like, "I did that roof. Ooh, they need a roof." So I think it's all the trades.
Yeah, it's the trades.
Yeah.
But just proud of what you do. Proud of what you do.
So God bless them. And
Again, thank you so much, you guys. Been great.
Yeah. Mark, again, thanks for having us. We appreciate it. Terry, let you close us out.
Yeah, so again, this is Terry Frisenda with the LG Procast team. I'm buddy Phillip, Kriegbaum, and Mr. Mark Meier from Meier Supply. Listen here in Conklin, New York. We've had a ball this week. Thank you very much. Have a great day.